Everyone, welcome to the video. So the CLAT pattern has changed and we have some major changes being introduced, and so in this video we'll discuss those changes and also what needs to be changed on your part in your preparation and what we can ignore. This is Mayuresh, All India Rank 109 in CLAT 2019, and I am currently pursuing BLLB from Nalsar University of Law. So some of the major changes we're going to discuss here. Firstly, the number of questions had been reduced from 200 to 120 to 150. So now we have the same amount of time and we need to do less questions. So this means that we have heard that all competitive exams are basically about speed and accuracy. So now the accuracy part becomes more important in here because we have the same amount of time. Expect the questions to be lengthy and be demanding too much reading and too much time. Still the percentage of attempts would be high because we have the same time and we have to do less questions. So now we have to do them correctly, right? So it's the choosing the right questions part that becomes the less important. So it is said that it's very hard to do 200 questions in 2 hours, but nobody ever used to do that, right? We used to choose the correct questions in those 2 hours that would benefit us most. Now that we have only 120 to 150 questions, I think we can't ignore much of the questions and we have to do what we have. Secondly, no legal reasoning. It's a big change. Now a new section is being introduced in place of that called inferential reasoning. So as there's no legal reasoning, we won't require any prior legal knowledge, but inferential reasoning does require an ability to infer correctly based on some statement of facts. So this new section will give us basically facts to read, a statement of facts, paragraphs maybe, and we need to infer that correctly. So we won't need any prior knowledge, but we will have to develop this ability to read things and infer from them. This is important. Thirdly, we have GK will now only consist of current affairs. We won't have any static GK, and maths is more like data interpretation with paragraphs and tables and all. Maths is being reduced to just like data interpretation. What needs to be added is one of the most important questions right now, because we have already done preparation for a long time, and so if anything extra is being added in the syllabus, that is the most important part, because we now need to start preparing them from today only maybe. So the first thing, as I said, that a new section is being introduced, inferential deductive reasoning, and the basis for introducing not this section but for doing all these changes is basically they said that we want those students that have the ability to read and understand complex writings. So for that, the first and the most important thing that anyone needs to do is to get into a habit of reading. We would have to start reading more. If we are not reading at all, we need to start reading something and then go beyond from that. So if someone is reading maybe editorials from one newspaper, now maybe I would go to the extent of saying that we might need to read editorials from 2-3 newspapers. We might need to read good magazines, but we might need to increase the difficulty slowly on, like we might want to study complex things slowly or gradually as we move. And as far as practicing questions like these would be concerned, I would refer that LSAT previous year and model papers, the logical reasoning part of the LSAT previous year papers would be very much helpful in that, and we might want to practice that. Also, M.K. Pandey book and the critical reasoning part in that would be very much helpful in preparing for inferential and deductive reasoning. Also, we might just want to get into this habit of reading these type of question and inferring them, and we would need to do this till our exams basically. The second thing that needs to be added is the data interpretation parts. Maths is more like data interpretation now, and I am pretty sure that we won't be giving much heed to that till now because we had a lot of other topics in maths. So data interpretation would include bar graphs, pie charts, tables, and line graphs, and this all needs to be understood in depth, so that when we go in exams we might get complex kind of graphs, or we might also want to work on our calculation speed, because now it's more like calculation. We won't have any shortcut formula, we don't really have any of them. We might want to have like shortcuts for doing calculations faster. Thirdly, we have current awareness. Now we have only current affairs as in the GK, so now current affairs becomes much more important, I feel, and important current events must be dealt with in detail. We might want to take notes from editorials. We might want to read more about what is trending currently. After the new pattern, we might want to ignore some of the things, but I would like to clarify on what we can ignore and what caution we need to keep in mind while ignoring them. So legal reasoning, as far as CLAT is concerned, is completely scrapped off, so we can ignore that. But we also need to keep in mind that legal reasoning will still be a part of other law entrance exams. Maths, as far as CLAT is concerned, is only about data interpretation right now, but the questions will also require a hold on arithmetic mathematics. So arithmetic mathematics will be chapters like percentage, ratio and proportions and averages. These kind of chapters still needs to be done in detail, and we need to have the concept of these things to be able to solve the data interpretations questions of tables and graphs. Static GK, as far as CLAT is concerned, we don't need to do it as a separate topic, but as I said, that when we do current in detail and we read a lot about what is trending, a lot of information that we get is basically static GK, and I feel that the current based static will still be asked, because a lot of times there is still confusion about what is current and what is static, and a lot of times what we consider as static, and if it is connected to a event that is trending currently, then they are being asked as a current affairs question. So we might still want to do the important current based static questions. English is largely similar, though a change can be made in this section as it can be more reading oriented. So topics like vocab, synonyms, antonyms, idioms, or anything that requires learning, they are of slight less importance now, and those topics like reading comprehension and paragrams and all that require a lot of reading, they are of slight more importance of now. So that's basically it. We not only in English section, but we might get a reading oriented paper only. So again, the ability to read and to comprehend things and to infer from them is the most important skill and ability that will help you crack the exam. So just focus on more on that and do some of these changes in your preparation, and I hope you will be okay. That's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. Do hit the like and the subscribe button down below. Do comment down your queries and follow Law School 101 on Instagram. All the best. Thank you so much.